I'm so glad that you're joining me again today. So this is going to be an intermediate Pilates class. So if you're a beginner, I recommend that you pause, go back and watch some of my introduction to Pilates class, my intro to Pilates. That's a much better place to start. But if you've had some experience and you want to jump into this class, I think that it'll be a great fit for you. Before we start though, I do want to also say that you are participating at your own risk. I cannot work with you live in this format, so I cannot correct your form, which means that you really need to be careful. If you feel anything weird or uncomfortable, please stop right away. Do not continue. Also, please do not start this video if you haven't cleared it with a medical provider, just for your safety. The last thing I wanted to say is this is the second video in the intermediate Pilates classes. So please, I'd recommend starting with the first video just because what we do today is going to build off of a little bit, but not a huge deal. I think you'll still get a great class. So go ahead and join us here. We're going to find first off our posture. I want to integrate more functional movement now that we found some of these core activations, some of these alignment principles on the ground. We need to be able to integrate that into standing, into life, into movement as a whole. So while you're here, first off, we're going to start by finding the four corners of our feet on the ground and then engage the core. So drawing that belly button in, kind of like you're putting a corset on. The next thing we're going to do is draw the ribs together, just like when we've done it in the past on our mat, drawing those ribs in. We're relaxing the front of the hips. We're going to slide our chin back slightly so that our neck is long in line with our spine. And then from here, still drawing that belly in, relaxing the legs. We're just going to roll the shoulders back. So as we do this, we tend to kind of stick our chest out. We think of like, oh, we're going to expand our collarbone here, but that disengages our core. So try to draw all this in and then really control it from the shoulder blades pinching back without losing that connection. So just a few more. Warming up, also try not to arch your neck, but keep that nice long chin slid back position. We'll bring our arms out to the side and overhead. And then just reach a little further up to the ceiling, release, bring it out to the side, reaching your hands away from your shoulders and down. Last time like that, belly lifting it out to the side and overhead. Now from here, we're gonna reach taller and then drop your chin to your chest. Belly lifts in as you roll down one vertebrae at a time, until you come all the way down, and then just relax here, let your head hang. Then you're gonna bend your knees, drop your tail to the ground, and roll up. Stack your hips, then each vertebrae, one on top of the other, lifting that stomach in, finding the ribs, finding the shoulders as you do. We're gonna roll again. Make sure when you do this, a lot of times we kind of pitch back when we sink into this. We want to stay lifted in the front of our core, so you're folding forward. So your legs don't really move. It's more your spine. The weight kind of changes in your feet a little bit. We don't want to shift back in our hips. You want to stay as upright as possible. No tension in your neck or shoulders. Bend your knees, drop your hips, spine, and then each vertebrae, rolling the shoulders. All right, we're going to do some walkouts. We're going to go for 10. Draw the belly into your spine, tuck your chin. We roll down, starting off nice and slow. Bend your knees. You can walk out to a downward dog or a plank position. Make sure your elbows stay bent, that belly lifts in. Push back, walk your hands towards your heels. Keep the knees in line with the spine, rolling up one at a time. And up we go for 2. Belly lifts in as we go down. Keep the knees bending. Shoulder blades pull down, lengthening out. We walk our hands back. Make sure your torso is staying nice and level. Try not to jostle it. Reaching up. We go 3. Belly lifting, rolling down. Nice long neck. Elbows stay slightly bent. Shift your weight into your heels. Rolling up. One vertebrae at a time. We go 4. Belly lifting it. Make sure there's no tension in your shoulders, especially your neck, the top of your shoulders. We want to feel the shoulder blades pulling down, so it's just supported. We go 5, I think we're on. Got distracted talking. Belly lifting and we push back. Keeping those elbows slightly bent the whole time. Rolling up, lengthening as you do. We go 6. Stomach pulling in. Walk it out. Keep the elbows slightly bent. Walk your hands back in. Drop your tails to the ground, rolling up. We go 7, stomach zips in. Knees relax, walk it out, shoulders down, walk it back in. Shift your weight, rolling up, growing taller as you do. We go 8, belly lifting in. Walk it out, shoulders stay down, walk it back in. No tension in the front of your legs, all the tension in your core. And last, oh, I already lost count, I think it's 10. I'm gonna hold it. And breathing here in your plank position. Anyone who knows, who works with me regularly knows that as soon as I start giving corrections, I forget how to count. So I apologize. We're just going to hold this plank, keep those elbows slightly bent, just like we found in all fours in previous classes. And now shift into a downward dog. Relaxing your spine. If you need to walk your hands back, so you have a better position, that's totally fine. Make sure you're not just letting your back sink. You're drawing that belly in, you're sliding the shoulders down, and you're trying to open your chest. Meanwhile, you're trying to keep your hips reaching to the ceiling, so your spine is in a neutral alignment. You can bend your knees if you need to make that happen. But our goal is to get the legs straight, the spine straight, and the belly lifting in. And then walk your feet towards your hands. Bend your knees and roll up. No tension in your neck or shoulders. And roll. All right, so we're gonna do something similar. We won't do 10 of them, but this time we're gonna work on walking back. And we're gonna lift our leg. When you do this, it's really important that you're not just forcing the position and kind of tweaking as you need to. You want to keep everything open, everything secure. So even if you don't go into the full movement, that's totally fine. Our goal is to more lengthen and breathe through the position as opposed to like forcing into it. All right, so we're just gonna drop our chin to our chest, belly lifting in. We're gonna put our hands on the ground. We're gonna step back into a plank, shoulders stay down, elbows stay bent, belly lifting in. Shift back into your downward dog. Shift your weight onto your left leg, so your right leg can go to the ceiling. We're gonna go 2 circles to the ceiling. Then lengthen that leg up to the ceiling as well. Shift forward into a one-legged plank. Shift back up. And then downward dog. Walk your feet into your hands. Bend your knees and roll up. And shoulders, arms up. We roll down. Belly lifting in. We step back. Try to switch which leg steps back each time. It's hard to remember sometimes, but try your best. And then we shift our weight onto our right leg. We lift our left leg. We do 2 circles to the ceiling. Keep those elbows slightly bent. Keep that belly lifting in. We straighten out that leg. We shift forward into a one-legged plank, belly lifting in. Elbows stay bent. We lift it back up to the ceiling. We put that foot down, lengthening, and then we walk our feet in. And we roll up. We're gonna do one more on each side. Keep that belly lifting in, reaching up. Make sure the 4 points of your feet still have contact. Stepping back, shoulder blades pulling down, elbows stay bent. We shift back. We bring our weight onto our left leg. Lift our right leg into the ceiling. Make sure the left knee stays pointed forward. 2 circles with the right leg. Reach that right leg to the ceiling. Keep that belly lifting in. Scoop the core more to bring yourself into that one-legged plank. Push back into a full position. Downward dog, lengthening, walking your feet in. Shift your weight into your heels. 4 points of your feet rolling up. Shoulders roll last time, and we roll down. Step back with the other leg. Make sure you're alternating. Find your plank position first. Shift into your downward dog. Ooh, I messed it. Belly lifting in. Shift your weight onto your right side. Bring your left leg to the ceiling. 2 circles. Keep breathing, and then lengthen that leg up. Shift your weight forward into a one-legged plank. Keep the elbows bent, belly lifting, no arching your back. Bring that leg back up to the ceiling, putting your leg flat. Downward dog. Keep breathing here, then we're gonna drop our knees with control. We're gonna sink back into a child's pose. I like to have my knees a little wider and my feet a little closer, but you can find the position that helps you feel the best. So we're just gonna push into that child's pose, relaxing our neck and breathing. Go ahead and come on up. Bring your hands to one side and shift your hips back. So you want ideally your hips to be neutral. Your spine is a little bit leaned, but you don't want your hips to lean. So you want your weight even on both knees as much as you can. It's going to stretch out your back, or maybe your arm, depending on where you're tight, and relaxing the front of the hips as you sink your weight back. And then go ahead and come on up. I was gonna give you something different, but for this class, we're not gonna build on top of that. Let's go ahead and come onto our backs. Changed my mind. All right, so we're gonna revisit this pelvic clock that we talked about last time. So you're gonna slide those shoulders down, find your neutral position first, draw your belly in, and try to relax the front of your legs. Then you're gonna tuck your tail to flatten that spine, and then let it untuck, and And then tuck it again. And let it untuck. So generally we exhale to tuck the tail, but you can do whatever breathing pattern makes sense. Make sure though that you're bringing the ribs down. And as you inhale, the sides of your lungs expand versus the top of your chest. Also, you're never quite letting go of your stomach for this. You're just using the stomach to initiate the tuck and then keeping the belly lifted in and letting it untuck. So it's a weird feeling that, again, we don't normally give people just starting off, but it's something I want to start integrating into my intermediate Pilates level students. So go ahead and come to a neutral position. We're going to let our hips rock side to side. Trying, if you can, to relax the top of your legs and keep the knees pretty much towards the ceiling. If you need to let them go a little bit more, that's okay too. But we don't want a super huge movement in our spine right now. It's more just rocking side to side on what we talked about, that sacrum. So if you have a bowl that are your hips right now, the top part's a little wider, that's the hip bones here. The bottom part's a little bit narrower. That little circle at the bottom of the bowl is your sacrum. It's at the base of your spine. We just want to rock to the edges like a wobbling bowl. Now come back to neutral. Now we're going to go around the rim of that sacrum. I'm going to tuck that tail, belly lifting in, roll to the side, down, and then to the other side. Make sure that you're doing this because your core is initiating it, your stomach pulling in, and not because your back or your legs or your hips or your glutes are squeezing. Some of those can be active, especially your glutes. It's fine if they're a little active. We don't want them to be the primary movers. Go ahead and switch to the other direction. The other thing is a lot of people will kind of hula hoop their hips, so try not to let that happen. You're just rolling around the edges, keeping that belly lifting in, the shoulders down, consciously relaxing your neck as you're here. And then go ahead and pause back at neutral position. All right, keeping those shoulders down, arms up. We're gonna revisit our static dead bug. So you're gonna bring both legs up to a tabletop position. Straighten your right leg out and bring your left arm overhead. We're trying to really draw the ribs together, draw the belly in. So you're relaxing the front of the leg, scooping that core in. We're just gonna hold here, no tension in your neck. Keep the shoulder blades pulling down, belly lifting in, scoop the abdominals a little bit deeper, and then back in. And other side, lengthen out, keep the shoulders down, belly lifting in, and we're holding here. No tension in the neck or shoulders. Scoop the abdominals. Watch this leg. Try to keep it at tabletop. Again, relaxing the front of the hips, scooping the belly in, right in the center, and back in. And the right leg out, left arm overhead. Keep that shoulder on the left side sliding down. Keep those ribs pulling together. Keep that belly lifting in. Breathing here. Try to challenge yourself a little bit, but make sure that the neck is not taking over and the back is not taking over either. And back in. And the other side, lengthen out. Breathing here, shoulder blade pulls down, no tension. Keep going, you got this. Breathing and back in. Go ahead and bring your knees in and just circle them around. All right, we're gonna jump right into our 100. So your legs are gonna start up at tabletop. Shoulder blades pull down. Try to feel this part initiate and the belly lift in. We're gonna exhale up and then breathing here. We breathe in 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. In 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep breathing with that same pattern. Zip that core a little bit deeper. Shoulder blades keep pulling down. Ribs pull together. In 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not demonstrating the power breath, but if you'd like to, that is a technique we use, and that is something that can help. In. Or if you want to do a nice smooth breath, that's totally fine too. Keep the shoulders sliding down, keep those ribs pulling higher. Try to keep the neck slightly tucked, but the belly and the ribs are what's pulling all that work. Straighten those legs, keep breathing, flatten that back. Again, if you feel any pressure in your spine, please pause. We're gonna lower our legs, keep breathing, belly lifting in. In 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Lower one more time. In 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. And let those legs come down. We're gonna open out to the side. Go ahead and let your legs fall to the right. You're gonna keep your chest open, neck is relaxed, and then go ahead and turn your head to the left. As you're here, breathe into the side of your lung. Notice if you're like me, the collarbone is lifting. It's a good indication I'm using my neck muscles to breathe. instead of my diaphragm. So one more breath here. Feel the side of your lung expand, and then as you exhale, draw the belly in, press the ribs in, and that's gonna one vertebrae at a time, press your spine back onto the ground as you go. So the legs follow, the stomach leads. Then you're gonna let your legs fall to the left side. Go ahead and turn your head to the right and work on breathing here. Notice if those shoulders have lifted up. You can keep pulling them down. You can breathe into the side of your lung right here. And keeping that core engaged. Exhale, ribs pull in to press your spine back on the ground. All right, we're gonna come back to that, but before we do, we're gonna do some single leg circles. So straighten your left leg down on the ground, bring your right knee in, watch that right hip doesn't lift, we want it to stay even. Then we're just gonna circle the leg within the hip socket. I talked about imagining with a little laser pointer, you're drawing circles on the ceiling. Notice you don't want the hip to pop up, and then going the other direction. You can choose how fast or how slow you want to go, how small or how big the circles are. But the most important thing is that that left hip stays glued to the ground. And straighten that leg. Just do 2 more each direction. Drawing that belly button in, keeping the hips from lifting, keeping the pelvis from rocking as you go, and keeping your breath going down into the lungs. Bring that knee into your chest, and then put it back on the ground, sliding it down, scooping the abdominals to then lift the other knee. Go ahead and relax it here. And then release it, little circles, that laser pointer on the ceiling. For some reason that was hard for me to say. Keep the chest open and relaxed, and then circle the other direction. Belly is lifting each time to keep that hip totally flat. Breath is expanding, and then straighten the leg, 2 more circles each direction, not letting the hip lift or the pelvis wobble, making sure you're not going to hit anything next to you. Go as small or as big as you desire, but make sure, again, priority is that core, and you're trying to relax the leg into the socket as much as possible. Bring that knee in for a second, putting it flat, scooping the abdominals, lengthen out. We're going to do half roll-ups here. So you're going to pull the shoulder down. What I mean is it's more like a bow up, because we're going to keep building on this. For anyone who knows Pilates, bring our arms over our chest, shoulder blades pull down, tuck that tail, so the belly's lifting in. You're going to exhale, scoop the abdominals to roll up part way, and then inhale to come back down. Generally, for people who are just starting off, I recommend this with knees bent. Sometimes, though, people are gripping their hips. And after what we just did stretching-wise, I wanted to try it with straight legs. So if you feel yourself gripping, do this with straight legs. If you feel any pressure at all on your back, please stop. But especially if you have a temptation to use your back, I would recommend bent knees. Belly lifting, you can scoop the abdominals, just halfway roll up. You're not forcing it. No momentum is involved. Just practicing that motion, especially with the upper abdominals here, right in between your ribs. And then go ahead and bring your arms down, bring your knees back in. We're gonna come into our series 5. So as you do this, shoulder blades pull down, lifting up, one leg stretches, the other leg comes in, and switch, and switch, and switch. Keep breathing, whatever breathing pattern makes sense for you. Keep your hips nice and still by drawing that belly in. You can use your hands like I am to make sure every time you do use the belly in, you keep that chest open, you keep the ribs pulling in. Bring both knees in. We're gonna go into our double leg stretch. Inhale out, exhale in. I'm gonna put my head down because I feel my neck taking over. And I would encourage you to do the same if you do as well, because our priority is keeping that back flat. So if you feel a little fatigued and your ribs are not engaging as much as they should and that neck takes over, then we definitely want to prioritize safety. But if you can do it with your chest lifted, that's awesome. Props to you. Please let me know in the comments. I'd love to congratulate you. Belly lifting in on all of those accomplishments for sure. And relax for a second, because I feel like we don't always celebrate the process, and that's such a good movement to do if you can do it correctly. So, all right, we're gonna come up for our straight leg stretch. Legs are starting with total knees straight. One is gonna drop towards your nose, the other towards the ground. Make sure the hips don't lift, and make sure you can relax the legs but zip the core. I recommend with your chest lifted, but again, if you feel that neck take over, just go ahead and pop that head back down. Keep zipping that belly a little deeper each time. You can do this with flexed feet if you'd like, or with pointed toes. Keep the shoulder blades sliding away from your ears. Keep the belly pinching together in the front like your little hot plate right on your stomach. You're pulling away from it. And then go ahead and bring your legs up. Everybody put your chest down, shoulders are open. If you want to sit with your sacrum supported, so very hands basically by your tailbone if you want to use your hands. If you can, it's a little more challenging to not, so up to you, but make sure you only go as low as your back can handle. Shoulders are open. We are gonna go for a count up today. So we're gonna go lowering for 5, lifting for 5, lowering for 6, lifting for 5, all the way up to 8. We always lift for 5, but we're increasing the amount that we're lowering for. Make sure you squeeze your legs together, and like I said, don't let your back take over. Stop if you have any discomfort. All right, shoulders down, neck relaxed. We lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift for 5, 4, 3, 2. Arrive in time. 1. We lower 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift for 5, 4. Scoop the core. 3, 2, 1. Lower for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax those legs. All right, we're gonna go into a crisscross exercise. So we're gonna start with our legs bent. Our chest is gonna stay open and hold shoulders down, but then we're trying to lift our chest so that our shoulder blades do come off the ground completely. We're gonna straighten our left leg, right leg into our chest, rotate to the right, switch the legs, rotate, legs, rotate. If you feel, like I said, any discomfort in your back at all, please stop. But especially if you feel your hips wobbling, I'd recommend putting one foot down and just focusing here. We are gonna do 2 different versions. So if you put one foot down, you'll still get both sides. All right, shoulder blades pull down, legs at tabletop, belly lifts in, we lift up, right leg in, left leg out, we twist to the right. Leg switch and twist. Legs, twist. Legs, twist. Legs, twist. Legs, twist. Last one, legs, twist, legs, twist. Relax for a second. Our goal is to not let our hips shift at all. So if you did 1 foot, go ahead and switch feet. If you did not, if you did 2 feet like I just demonstrated, this time we're gonna twist our body initially towards the straight leg. Switch the legs, twist to the straight leg. So it's a little bit different. Keep the shoulders down, belly lifts in, legs at tabletop. We come up, we straighten our left leg, and we twist towards the left. Straighten the legs and twist. Legs and twist. Legs, twist. Legs, twist. Legs, twist. One more on each side. Twist, legs, twist, and relax. And relax your chest for a second. We're gonna go ahead and do some bridging. So tuck your tail, squeeze your glutes, peeling your hips up off the ground one at a time, relaxing your chest, and then you're gonna draw the belly in to lower one vertebrae at a time, back down. Relax in the front of the legs, squeezing the glutes, rolling up, and then exhaling, zipping that core. Keep going with your own timing. A couple things I wanna bring your attention to. That your knees are directly in line with the hip joints. A lot of times our feet are a little bit too wide. We think of the outside of our hips versus the hip joints. So just really make sure everything, including your toes, are in line on those little train tracks there. The other thing, speaking of your feet, is we want to feel the 4 points of our feet. We call them the 4 corners. Basically the balls of your feet and then either side of your heel. You want to feel your weight even on all 4 points on both feet. Sometimes we tend to favor one leg. The other way you'll kind of notice that is if you can, tuck your chin a little bit and look as you're bringing your hips up. Notice if one hip reaches the ceiling first or if they both reach at the same time. Sometimes we don't notice it, but you'll see it. Sometimes it's hard to see, so don't worry if your neck doesn't quite go that way. But we're going to keep that tail tucked because you want both hips to be arriving at the right time up to the ceiling. All right, we're going to hold this lifted position, squeezing your glutes. Shift your weight onto your left leg, peel your right leg off the ground and straighten it. Now you can either go right to knee height, like we did last time, or I'm gonna try 5 lowers, Not all the way to the ground, but a little bit more. We're gonna lower, belly lifts in, and bring the leg back up. And we lower for 2. Keep those hips level. Tucking that tail, 3. Ribs pulling down, up. And 4. Up, keep the hips level, 5, belly lifting in, up. Now hold here, we're gonna roll down with one leg lifted. Make sure your right hip isn't lifted towards your ear. You wanna keep them level in all the directions. And then slowly control your journey down. Relax, and go ahead and put that foot back down. Squeeze the glutes, 2 legs to roll back up. Shift your weight to the right leg. Peel your left hip off the ground. Again, make sure that you're tucking your tail. You're drawing that belly in. Your leg isn't crossing center. Everything's in those same train tracks. You feel the 4 corners of your feet. And we're gonna flex that foot, slowly kick down and up for 5 counts. 1, keep the hips level. And 2, relaxing the neck and the shoulders. And 3, belly lifting in each time. 4, last time, 5. And now keeping this, make sure everything's level. Drop the hip down if you need to. Slowly roll down, 1 vertebrae at a time. And bring that foot down. Let's go ahead and stretch for a second. Bring both knees into your chest. Grab your feet. Little happy baby stretch. If you want to grab your toes, you can. You want to grab your feet. If you just want to grab your legs. We're trying to let our legs come out to the side towards our shoulders. Just get some of that inner hamstring stretch. And relax here for a second. And then go ahead and release the legs. Bring your right knee in. Straighten your left leg down. Grab behind your right leg, straighten to the ceiling. And little circles with this ankle. Check in that your shoulders are sliding down, your belly's still lifting in, and circle the other direction. Check in with your breathing. Still have it go down, out into your diaphragm. Go ahead and bend your knee, relax your leg. Exhale, drop the hip, belly lifting in, straightening that leg, flexing the foot all the way. And inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, straighten. 2 more. We're going to inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. And last time, inhale, bending. And exhale, straightening. Go ahead and release the leg. Reach it away from you, straightening that knee, dropping the hips, belly lifting in. We lower for 5. Try to open up the front of your hip. 4, keep straightening the knee. 3, keep tucking that tail. 2, belly lifting in. 1, when it gets to the ground, you can shake it out for a second and relax. Whew, my neck is taking over today. Try to slide the chest, slide the shoulders down, keeping them flat on the ground and away from your ears. And you have little muscles in your neck called your scalenes. And they, at least for me, tend to really tighten up. They lift everything. They're one of the things that lifts everything. Try to think of stretching down, but also just releasing any tension in that neck there. Now when you're ready, go ahead and bring your left knee in. Take a second here. And then straighten that leg and circle your ankle. You can decide how fast, how slow, all of that. But make sure if you find a really difficult spot that you breathe into it for a second instead of like avoiding it. Try to embrace that stretch. So check in that hip is dropping down. Circle your ankle the other direction. Trying to actively use your quad to straighten the knee. Use that core, but then relax everything else. And go ahead and inhale, bend the knee into your chest. Exhale, flex and straighten. Inhale, bending it into your chest. Exhale, flex and straightening. Last one, inhale, bending into your chest. Exhale, flexing and straightening. Release the leg. Reach away from you, drawing that belly button in, opening the front of your hip, scoop the abdominals, we lower for 5, 4, 3, belly lifting in 2, 1, and relaxing it down. Go ahead and bring your knees back into your chest. We're going to bring them up to a tabletop position. We're going to revisit this pelvic clock idea. We touched on this in our last class. So You want to imagine that your hips are, I don't want to say locked, but they're stuck in place. It's a bad word too. You don't want them to be tightening into that place, but the joint angle itself is just staying the same. Same thing at your knees. These are not staying. You're not gripping to hold it, but they're just staying at this place. They're not moving here. It's not moving here. So we're going to keep all of that the same. That way the stomach zipping in and the core, the bowl of your pelvis is what's initiating and controlling all this movement. Our goal is to keep our chest open and relaxed. We're going to zip the belly in order to tuck the tail, and then keep that belly lifting in, but then come back to a neutral position. And then tuck that tail, scoop the abdominals, keep the belly lifting, but come back to neutral. And in a neutral position, we're going to let the knees fall out to the side, belly lifting in to bring it back to neutral. I'm going to let the knees fall out to the other side, belly lifting in to bring them back to neutral. This is the same position like when we had it here, but our legs are staying in this lifted. All right, so we're going to try to combine all of that. Imagine you're rolling around the edge of the bowl, belly lift in, roll to the edge of the sacrum, down only to a neutral, but keep that belly lifting in, then to the other side, and tucking that tail maximum out. And again, to the side, ribs pulling in down, belly lifting, shoulders relaxed, and tucking the tail. Last one, we go out, scoop the core down, to the other side, and tuck. Other direction, keep that belly lifting in to initiate the movement, scooping the abdominals. It's okay if your quads are getting tired. They are in this position, but you want to feel it more in here and not up in the hips if possible, because that generally means that your hip flexors are starting to relax and the core is more of the work versus everything taking over. And go ahead and relax into the center for a second. All right, we're going to go into our pendulum. So keep what we just talked about in your mind. We're going to back it up a little bit and do something that we did last class. So this time, we're going to start with legs straight, and we're just going to go side, up, side. So I'm demonstrating with my hands sliding, as you can kind of see, but I don't want that to happen. Instead, I want that your legs stay pressing together so that your hips lift a little bit back to center, and your hips lift a little bit. And in order to get the hip back down, you're going to have to use your core. So I just showed you with my arms, but the same thing's going to happen in your legs. So I'll show you once. It's kind of a lot going on. You're going to draw the belly in, shoulders stay down, squeeze the legs together. You're going to slowly lower to the side, and then you're going to scoop the abdominals more to come back up to center. And then you're going to slowly lower to the other side, scoop the abdominals more to come back up to center. So go ahead and try just a few on your own, side to side. Make sure you're scooping that core to press the ribs back down to flatten the spine. We do not want to be arching our back. You want to zip that core. So you should really be trying to find a tucked tail position as you do it. I think that's usually the easiest for people to find. Again, no tension in your neck. Now we're going to add our swings. So you're going to go out to the side. You're going to zip the core, flattening the spine onto the ground as you go down. Then you roll to the other side, and you come back up. And we're going to squeeze our legs going to the side, zipping the belly in as we go down. Then to the other side, and zip the core back in. One more each direction, side. Belly lifts as we go down. Then to the other side, and back in. And we go side. Belly lifts as we go down, to the other side, and back in. Go ahead and bring our knees in for a second. You can just totally relax them. We're going to work on our hip lifts. So like we talked about last time, try not to swing in your knees, the swing in those hips, but instead feel like you're getting punched in the gut, and that's what lifts you. Try to keep your chest open. If you want to add a little extra pressure in your hands, I recommend it. However, only if you can do it without arching your back. So on your own timing, just trying to relax those legs. You're going to scoop the abdominals. Imagine you get punched in the gut, and that's what lifts your hips a little bit. Punch in the gut, and it lifts the hips. Try not to swing. Instead, you get zipped, and that's what lifts. You can hold for a second at the top. That's ideal. Try not to use that neck, though, or your shoulders. Keep the belly lifting. Last one. And then go ahead and relax your legs down. All right, we're almost done with this little series. I know it's a lot on our legs, but now we're going to try and combine those. This is I call it around the world, usually. And it's a different name technically, but you're going to start with your legs up. You're going to try and do a little hip lift to the ceiling. You're going to come down, to the side, swing the legs down to the other side, and then up a little hip lift at the ceiling. So in person, we'll do this a little differently. We'll do this a little more together, and I will correct you and we'll talk about it. But for today, I want to go very slow and not very high. So what I mean by that is we're just going to lift the hips slightly and then come down and then do the swing as you go. You come to this side, back to center, little lift. So that's how I would recommend doing it here in this format. There's a lot of different techniques, but we will get to that in person and potentially in later videos. So let's go ahead and go to the right first. So you're going to draw the belly in, scoop the abdominals, hip lift, come down, side, draw the belly in. As you slowly swing down, we go to the other side, draw back to center, little hip lift. Now we're going to go to the left, side, scoop the abdominals as you slowly swing down, then to the other side, pull back to center, and little hip lift. Let's go to the right. Make sure that your feet aren't sliding, just like I showed you. Squeeze the legs together so the stomach is what's controlling the motion. Your hips are trying to relax a little bit more. Just a little inner thigh, and then all in the core. Back to center, little lift. And we go to the other side, the left side. Scoop the abdominals as we go down. Back to the right side. Pull back to center, and end with a little lift. And go ahead and bring those knees down. All right, you made it through. Whoa, it's a lot. We are going to stretch our legs, but we have a couple things to do first. So let's go ahead and do a few full roll-ups. So if you don't get all the way up, that is totally fine. This is a really tough exercise. We're going to start like we did in the beginning, but with a little, I think it'll help to have our knees slightly bent at least for this one. You're going to slowly peel yourself up. If this is as high as you go, that's totally fine. Come back down. I'd rather have you work in that little zone. If you get to here and you need a little extra help, you can shoot the legs out, and then that helps you squeeze that belly in to lift yourself more. However, what I don't want to see, not that I can see it, but what I don't want you guys to do is roll up and then you swing with your chest, or roll up and then with your legs, because all that's going to put tension in your back, which we don't want. So you roll up to the level that feels good for you, that's an appropriate challenge, trying to relax your legs, trying to zip the belly in, trying to keep your chest open as you do so. If you haven't started already, go for it. We're going to exhale, peel our spine up off the ground, whatever position is helpful for you. Straighten your legs if you need to get up, and then just relax forward. Stack your spine straight. We're not going to spine stretch, we're just going to relax forward. Draw that belly in, lowering with control, one vertebrae at a time. Try to take extra long on the way down, touching each vertebrae one at a time. And our arms come up, and we exhale. Slowly pull up, keep that belly lifting in. When you get to the top, just relax over. And then stack your spine bottom to the top, drawing that belly in, chest is open. Try to take at least as long, if not longer, going down. Scoop the abdominals, try to touch one vertebrae at a time, just your low back, then your mid back, then eventually your upper back, and relax. Last two, we're going to come up, down, up. Belly lifting in, scoop the abdominals, lengthening up to the ceiling as we roll up slowly, relaxing forward, stack that spine straight, no tension in your neck or shoulders, and then zipping that core as you come back down, one vertebrae at a time. You're almost there, and last one, we're going to come all the way up, belly lifting in, scooping the abdominals even more as you come up, and relaxing forward. All right, we're going to do some spine twists. So you can relax your legs. Technically, this is done with the legs straight and parallel, but I even let people do this, with your legs bent in this position if you prefer a crisscross. I don't care. My goal is to have your legs be totally released so you can feel your sit bones underneath you. You can feel yourself lifted from your stomach, those low abdominals. So however you want to have your legs, I will say with them in front of you, it's easier to see if you're cheating. So wherever your legs are, just make sure if you feel your hips twisting, that's a no-no. So you can kind of do it. I'm going to come from the front so it's a little bit easier to see. Again, legs are relaxed, belly lifts in first, chest stays open, and the ribs stay tight. If you have room, arms out to the side. Shoulders stay down. You know what, let's flip our palms to face up. I think that'll be easier to get those shoulders in place. As excuse me. We're gonna belly lift in, inhale to rotate, growing taller. Exhale to come back to center. Let's switch that. Take an inhale. Exhale. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And then we're gonna inhale, grow taller, back to center. Try to feel your lungs expanding. Exhale, rotating. Make sure your hips aren't twisting. You're just growing out of your hips here. Your shoulders stay down. Your spine is what's doing the motion. And then we exhale, rotate to the other side. Inhale, back to center. Sometimes it's helpful to put our hands behind our head. You can kind of feel if you're pushing. And so if you want to try this, you're welcome to too. Just make sure your shoulders don't lift. You want to keep them pulling down. Keep those ribs in as you rotate to the side. Back to center. Ooh, this side is tighter. Rotate to the side. Scoop the abdominals back to center. We're going to do one more on each side. Oh. And relax. All right, in this position, we're gonna do some side bending. So feeling those sit bones underneath you, you're gonna point your right hand away from you so the fingers face out, your elbow points in. This is similar to the mermaid that we've done before. Shoulder blades pull down. We're gonna have our left hand facing the palm up. You're gonna start with it over your head to the ceiling. Again, shoulders slide, ribs pull in. You're gonna bend with your elbow, your right elbow pointing in. You're gonna bend to the side. Sometimes it's nice to look down, but you can choose, especially if you're following along in the video here. Then you're gonna belly lift in, you're gonna pull from this side first to scoop the abdominals to come back up to center. And you're gonna flip. So the right hand faces up, the left palm faces down. Shoulder blade pulls down. Sorry, let's start with the hand lifting up. And then over, nice little stretch here. And then from the right side here, the belly lifts in to come back up to a lengthened position. Keep going. Breathing over, try not to let your weight shift. Try to keep your hips glued to the ground and then lift from the stomach to pull you back to center. And other side, trying to open up the right side of your body here. Belly lifting in from the center, scooping the core to come back up. Good, again, make sure your legs are relaxed. We're gonna do one more set. If that felt good, stay right there. If you want a little extra challenge, this time we're gonna go over, and then before you come up, you're gonna lift this hand. That puts a lot more pressure here. And we really want to feel that hip. First off, it doesn't leave the ground, but then especially you lift from this part of your spine and every vertebrae gets stacked taller, taller, taller to the ceiling. Your neck is a part of that too. So again, these scalenes, try to get them to relax. All right, let's just try 2 on each side. So shoulder blades pull down, belly lifting in. And we come over as we inhale. We lift and then exhale, belly lifts in more to come back up to center. And inhale over, lift, exhale up to center. You can do the same breathing pattern or you can reverse it, it's totally up to you. I'm finding it easier to exhale, to pull up, but you do what feels right. Shoulder blade pulls down, trying to lengthen into it, lift the hand, drawing that stomach to come back up. And relax, nice, shake out your legs. All right, good. We are going to go ahead and let's come on to our side. We'll come back to some of the stuff I'm looking at. So we'll come back to that. All right, you're gonna slide that hip down, shoulder blade pulls down, feel the lift. Oh, that's right, I wanted to change this up. You can do it in that position if you'd like. The other alternative is try to hold it in this position. So I'm gonna demonstrate here. You can do it here, either way, but if you're in this on your hand position like I'm gonna demonstrate, try to feel that same thing we just worked on as you bend over to the side. So that elbow is gonna point in, shoulder's gonna point down, lift the core to come up. You're gonna straighten that leg out, flex the foot. We're gonna pulse this leg to the ceiling. Try to prevent your hips from twisting, your ribs from twisting. Just belly lifting in. The other thing is we kind of sink back sometimes. So you try to lift from the front, squeeze those glutes behind so that you're in a nice lifted position. Keep the shoulders down, draw the belly in. We're gonna do little circles forward with this leg. Keep the belly lifting. Whew. No tension in the neck. Make sure that right arm is not straight. You wanna keep it bent here. And then circle the other direction with that leg. Make sure you're not sinking back in your hip. You're staying in this nice neutral position. You're engaging the core to stay here. and go ahead and relax that leg. So I'm gonna show you two different versions. If you're here, you're gonna work on just straightening this leg up. You know what, let's do it all together. So either in this position on your elbow or on your hand, which I'll show you in a second, but you're gonna put both legs, your top leg in front. This other hand is here to support you, but try not to twist towards it. You're just gonna try to scoop that core, squeeze the glutes in order to lift yourself up. If you're on your hand, it's the same thing. Keep the shoulder down, elbow bent, but you have to start a little further, and you have to draw that belly in because you're going a little further up. Either way, I really want you to focus on that top leg pushing down into the ground. So we're gonna do something a little challenging in a second. So try to really push into that leg, belly lifting in, hold for a second, down, whichever version you're in. You're just gonna hold for a second and come down. Just a few up and down, your own timing. Last one this time. Hold at the top, really push in that front leg, and then try to bend this bottom leg and relax it for a second. You can straighten it if you need to. Bend it for a second, then straighten. Try not to let anything else twist, and then go ahead and come all the way down. And we're gonna switch to the other side. All right, so you're not so bad. Again, you can start on your elbow on this side or on your hand. If you're on your hand, that elbow bends towards you and the fingers face away and that shoulder stays down. Scoop the abdominals, coming up, making sure that this is nice, this is relaxed, so that this is very active, and this is very active. You're gonna straighten that top leg, flex the foot, and little pulses up. We're not letting our hips sink back. Keep that tail slightly tucked, belly lifting. So what I mean by that is sometimes we can kind of be in this position. I want you to be here. One solid line, like there's a wall behind your back and your legs, and you're even with the wall. All right, keep pulsing that leg. I'll join you in a second here. Shoulder blade pulls down, belly lifts in, little lifts up. Make sure you're not sinking in the hips. And now we're gonna circle that leg forward. Keep the belly lifting. A little more lift on this side. Ribs are pulling down. Neck is relaxed. Find your happy place. And then circle the other direction. Squeezing the glutes to do so. Making sure that the shoulder's where it needs to be. Don't let it pop up. And go ahead and relax that leg. Come on down. You can do this on your elbow or on your hand. I've shown you what it looks like on your elbow, so I'm gonna do it on my hand. We're just gonna try and pull up for a second and then come down. Go on your own timing. We have our legs straightening. The top leg is in front. Shoulder blade pulls down, belly lifts in. We're just gonna come up for a second and then come back down. And come up, zip that core, and come down. Make sure you're not arching your back, even a millimeter. Zip, 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 right from the front. And down, we're gonna hold it down, this last one up. Belly lifting in, now try to really push down on that top leg so you can relax that bottom leg and put it back straight. No arching your back, and put it straight. Zip, zip, zip the core, put it straight. Oh, I lost count, let's do one more. Put it straight, and then go ahead and relax down and shake it out. Let's stretch for a second. So we're gonna come onto our elbow. If you need to be all the way down, that's totally fine. Cross your left leg on top of your right, and then bring that right leg in. As you're here, try to consciously relax your hips, consciously draw the belly in, and then make sure you're not sinking here. You wanna think of pulling the shoulder blades back. If you have any shoulder issues at all, definitely recommend coming into this position. It's gonna be a little safer. But if you can do this on your elbows, generally it can really help open our chest and engage the shoulder blade muscles, our rhomboids and such, which we need to help support issues with our shoulders. So if it's not uncomfortable, I recommend this generally for most people. But if it is at all, please be wise with your body. And we're gonna switching legs, try to keep that chest open, that belly lifting in. You can decide how close you want this knee. Try to actively push the other one away and breathing. Make sure your hip's not lifting, you're keeping it level. We're relaxing our neck here. And last breath. And then go ahead and come on down. All right, we're gonna flip onto our stomachs for some rockets. If you've been with me, you know the drill here. If this is new, please, I'd recommend watching some of the other videos. I'll talk you through it real quick, but for the most part, we're just gonna rock it up. So tuck your tail, squeeze your glutes, pull the belly in, shoulder blades pull away from your ears and down. You're gonna just zip that core more to lengthen your neck. And because you lengthen your neck, it lifts a little off the ground. Now holding this, make sure the shoulders are forward. You're keeping them pinching down. You want your shoulder blades higher than your hands. And there are going to be little pulses stemming because the shoulder blades are pinching more, then it causes your hands to pulse. Because I'm hoping you guys have watched more of my videos, I just want to remind you that we're not using our low back. We're zipping that belly in. We're trying to pull up from right here. So that is our upper back only and our core that's really targeted in this exercise. Go ahead and hold at the top. Shoulder blade keeps sliding down. Our left arm is going to come out to the side. Keep sliding the shoulder blade down as our left arm reaches overhead. Back out to the side in the T and down. And the right arm is going to slide to the side and overhead. Keep pulling it away from your ear. Back out to the side and down. One more time each side. Make sure that your neck is in line with your spine. You're looking down at the mat the whole time. That belly is lifting in. You keep the shoulder blades pinching. Stomach is scooping. Lengthening the neck. And then when you're done, you can either push back into a downward dog, you can hang out on the ground. But either way, just take a second for yourself to release any tension. We're gonna round your back. We're gonna come up into what is called a mini swan. Well, we're gonna work into the mini swan if you've taken it with other people. So with this, it's gonna be the same feeling that we did in our rockets, but our hands are gonna be by our chest. And I want you to really feel more than anything, the shoulder blades pinching back. Like that is what leads the movement. Because as soon as we go into the next step of this, we all tend to wanna arch and use our lower back, but don't let it happen. Keep that low back long by tucking your tail, just like we talked about. And then that way the shoulders can slide down on top. So if this is your back, this is your shoulders, you're sliding them down over a straight back instead of arching the back to lift the chest. So all to say, go ahead and start on your stomach. Keep the tail tucked. Your hands are just by your head, however they're comfortable. You're going to zip the belly in. Shoulder blades still pulled down away from your ears. Roll your nose forward just like you did in the rockets. And then before we go into the mini swan, we're just going to lift our shoulders to lift the hands. You squeeze the shoulder blades more and the hands lift off the ground and they come back down. And they lift up and back down. Keep that tail tucked, the glutes are engaged, the stomach is pulling in, the shoulder blades are pinching back to initiate the movement. Again, your neck is long. Last one, we're gonna pull back and hold, let the hands come down. Now we're gonna do our mini swan. Keep that tail tucked. Nothing in your low back, all in your upper back. You pinch the shoulder blades back more, just like we just did, and then you slowly lift your spine even more off the ground. The upper back keeps lifting. And then when you get to your ribs, you keep pulling the ribs together. You push slightly into your palms. And then you bring the ribs back down and come all the way down. So keep that tail tucked, squeeze the glutes, lengthening the nose. You roll your nose forwards, the spine comes up, your shoulder blades keep pinching back. And then you lengthen the neck even more to lift your chest a little more off the ground. Keep the shoulder blades pinching back. You pull your ribs together. You keep your low back straight. You press slightly into your hands to lift the ribs barely off the ground, but they're still pulling together in the front. Your ribs come back on the ground, and then you roll down. And we're just gonna do that. Go ahead and push back and relax. So hopefully if you did that correctly, you should feel a lot of pressure right here in the front of your ribs because they are on fire. And then pressure right here in your shoulder blades. If you did not do it correct and you feel any tension right in between these 2 points, please reach out to me. Let's talk about a way if you do it correctly, because this is not what we need to strengthen. This is what we need to strengthen with that exercise. All right, we're gonna move on. So we did a Pilates style push-up, I believe in the intro to Pilates class. I'm gonna retouch on that, our second level of our intro to Pilates class. So I want you to go ahead and come onto your hands and knees. Now we're gonna relax our back here. Relax our neck, relax our hips, and then draw that belly in. So back again is relaxed, but the stomach is very engaged. Imagine that fire underneath you, all that jazz. You bend your elbows, you point them back towards your hips, you push slightly into the palms, you lift the ribs up just a little bit more. And because you're in this position, we're gonna push the ground away more. So the back does not round, it just gets the shoulders lengthen, the shoulder blades separate a little bit. And then we're gonna keep the belly lifting in, the neck in line with the spine. We're gonna pull the shoulder blades back. We're gonna push the ground away and pull it back. So try not to let this happen. Try to keep your spine totally neutral, and you're just pushing the ground away, and you're pulling yourself closer. Last one, we're gonna push the ground away and hold. Now this is ideally the position you're in. So again, not rounding your back, just separating the shoulders like an elevator pushed up, basically. Keep that belly lifting and keep the ribs together. We're gonna hold here, but this time we're gonna do some Pilates style push-ups. You're gonna bend your elbows point back towards your hips, and then you're gonna push more into your hands, scoop the abdominals to come up. So normally when people do push-ups in life, we kind of let our shoulders be engaged, let the elbows go out to the side. That's not bad, that's just a different technique. So what we wanna do is instead really lock the shoulder in place, just like we locked our hips earlier. Not gripping, but just get the position nice and stable. We push the ground away, and then we're gonna try and do some push-ups, elbows pointing back. So I'm gonna let you decide the number. Find a good challenge for you. We never straighten our arms all the way, we keep it slightly bent. You can decide how much weight is on your hands. Again, find a good challenge. Make sure that you're not gripping your hips as you do this. If you put more weight on your hands, it's gonna be significantly harder, so you can decide. Keep the neck nice and long, the belly is lifting in. If this is easy, you're welcome to go to one leg or to come forward in this position. So totally decide up to you. If you need to take a break at any point, that's okay too. But we really want to feel this in the back of our arm, this tricep here, maybe a little underneath our armpit and our lats. We do not want to feel this as much in our chest, even though you are working there. We want to feel it way more in the triceps. Keep the belly lifting, neck is really long. Let's do 3 more wherever you're at. Keep the belly lifting in. Decide your depth, keep breathing. And last one. And relax and shake it out. All right, let's go ahead. We're gonna do a couple more things before we end class today. So I'm gonna have us do a couple different plank series here. Well, we're gonna do a plank, we're gonna go to a teaser, we're gonna go to a plank, and then we'll stretch. So we're almost there. So the first one's what we did last time. You hold for 10, you lift a leg for 10, you lift a leg for 10, you hold for 10. Decide how you want to do that. Maybe your lift of leg is here, but ideally you're in a full plank and you're lifting here. Ultimately though, I just want to make sure you're not arching your back or twisting your hips. So try to think of everything we worked on of things pulling together before you actually move the leg. So I'll hold this plank, shoulder blades stay down, elbows bent, everything we just felt. You hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We lift a leg for 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure the hips don't move. 5, 6, shoulders don't move. 7, 8, 9, 10. Scoop the core to transition. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Foot goes down. We hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then drop your knees slowly and relax. Flip on over. We're going to do a little teaser prep here. So, relaxing the legs. You're going to zip that core in just like we did these roll backs. Same feeling here. Legs are going to be just bent to start. Scoop the abdominals till you roll off of your tailbone. Again, if this is new, I recommend that you watch the videos we did previously. One at a time, leg lifts. Make sure that as your leg lifts, you don't straighten your back. You want to keep a rounded position. So your low back is rounded, but the upper back is not crunched. You want the upper back to straighten and extend, the low back to round that way. So upper back is that way, low back is that way. Scoop those abdominals a little bit more. Now we're going to do a rolling like a ball exercise. So if you notice yourself get stuck and go flat, it usually means that you haven't scooped the abdominals and rolled through your spine. So try really hard to keep the shoulders down, belly lifts in as you roll back, and find your balance up. Make sure you're not straightening your back to find that balance. Try to think of instead that your hips pull together to find the balance. So your own timing, we usually exhale back, inhale to come up, but try not to use your chest. I love this one personally. I think it's fun. Woo! Try to find the balance. Don't let yourself crunch your back. Chest stays open. And last one, belly lifting in, shoulders are down. Holding this position, try to let go for a second. We're gonna straighten one leg and bend. Keep the belly lifting in, straighten and bend. Chest stays open, straighten and bend. Hip bones pull together in the front. No tension in your neck. If you need to have your hands here, that's totally fine, but try to use the core instead of your arms. Try to relax the front of your hips. You're almost done. One more on each side. Keep that belly lifting in. And then relax it down. Oh my gosh, you made it. All right, for this next exercise, we're gonna do a side plank for 10, a regular plank for 10, a side plank for 10. However, you can decide that you wanna just do this, or you wanna do this. Those are great options. I would recommend whichever one you're doing, you also add this little twist. So we worked way back when on this little twist here when we were doing our crisscross exercise. I want you to try to feel that same thing, that you're scooping the abdominals, so hip and rib are coming together as you twist down, but we're not crunching down into it. You know what, better analogy is, we did this rotation exercise. Feel that same rotation. That's a better one. As you're lifting up, so you're increasing the distance as you rotate under. So anyway, you can either hang out here for 10 counts, or you can twist under, and then we're gonna come, I didn't show that very well, you're gonna come into a plank here or here, and then you're gonna come up. You can either hold, or if you can, where you are twisting under. So, start off towards the back edge of your mat, so you have a little bit of room. I'm gonna do this on my, I'll do it on my elbow with you. I'm gonna do it with straight legs, but it's totally up to you how you would like to. All right, last plank exercise. Draw that belly in, scoop the abdominals. We hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we come onto our plank, regular plank, or knees bent for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we twist to the other side. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come back to a regular plank, drop your knees with control. And child's pose. Go ahead and roll on up. We're gonna come into a kneeling stretch. So right leg is front, tuck tail position. Belly is lifting in, try to relax that front knee as much as possible. Shoulder blades roll, no tension in your neck. Scooping the abdominals. Notice the 4 points of your right foot on the ground, and that you're not twisting the hips. Reach the arms out to the side, overhead. We're gonna forward fold. So if you can, we're gonna straighten that back leg and come into a runner's lunge. If you wanna hang out here, that's totally fine too. Try to make sure that the weight is even between the sides of your feet. So generally we kind of roll in and we close this arch. We wanna keep that arch, not by just, leaning to the side, but by making sure that that weight is even and that our right knee is looking forward. Directly forward, not into the center at all. And then go ahead and drop that knee just like we did last time. We're going to stretch back, straighten that front leg. You can come all the way down here. You can stay up and move it however you feel comfortable. No tension in that neck though. Breathing here. Taking out a little flex foot position. And then go ahead and just come forward. We're gonna put our hands flat and then slide it back. We're not gonna push up today. Just bring your left knee forward. Start off in a kneeling, tuck tail position. Make sure the hip's not lifted, but it's even here. Woo, you have your balance. Your belly is drawing in. You feel the 4 points of this front leg, this left foot, 4 corners on the ground. And we're rolling our shoulder, sliding the chin back, zipping that belly in. As you're here, reach the arms up and out to the side. And then fold forward. If you want, you can move that foot a little farther forward for a little more stretch in the back of the leg. And if you're here, you feel stretch in your calf, it's not a bad thing. It's just up to you on where you want to feel the stretch. But make sure that your foot's not rolling in. Make sure that your hips not lifted, your hips are even. And you're welcome to push into that full runner's lunge. It's totally up to you. Try to relax the neck and shoulders and breathe here. And go ahead and push back. You can just come to this position. You can move the leg wherever you're at. Try to relax into the stretch again. And add a flexed front foot if you can. And we're going to go ahead and bring that leg back. Oh, stick into the mat. All right, shoulder blades pull down, belly lifts in. You're going to push back into your downward dog. Shift your weight onto your left leg. Bring your right leg to the ceiling. 2 circles with this right leg. Try to get the leg a little higher without your back tipping over. Keep that belly lifting in. Straighten that leg up to the ceiling. Bend your elbows. Belly draws in deeper as you push forward into a one-legged plank. And you push back into that high, lengthened position. Foot comes back onto your downward dog. Shift the right foot. Bend your knee. Lift it up to the ceiling. Keep that belly lifting in the whole time. 2 circles here. Shoulder blades keep pulling down, lengthening the leg up to the ceiling, shift forward, breathing, shoulder blades pull down, elbows stay slightly bent, shift it back up to the ceiling, and then put that foot flat. You're gonna walk your hands towards your heels, bending your knees as you need to, totally fine, relaxing forward, tucking that tail, stack your spine straight, each vertebra growing away from the other, head is the last thing. Inhaling as you do, feeling your lungs expand. Roll the shoulders back. Feel yourself centered again on those 4 corners of your feet. Zipping that belly in, zipping the ribs in. Chest is expanding. Chin pulls back to lengthen the back of your neck. You roll the shoulders back. You reach the arms out to the side, up to the ceiling. Zip the inner thighs together. Belly, glutes, ribs lengthening as you push the ground away to rise. Inhaling up. And exhale. And throw it away. Thank you so much for joining you guys for the 2nd class in our intermediate series. I do hope to have some more posted soon, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I'll be doing all the in-person classes with you. So again, if you want to connect with me live, I do have virtual options, or if you're here locally in Connecticut, I would love to see you guys in class. But I hope you guys have a great day, and please reach out to me if you have any questions at all. I'll talk to you guys soon.